We're back, or we haven't left, depending on how you're listening to these. Pit stop at Buc-ee's, of course. We are back on I-65 North, just under 100 miles from Louisville. So before we get into anything else here at Torrington's, Buc-ee's, right? You know, this was a fabled place. I was told that Daniel Powell put the seed into Miguel's brain about this wonderful location.
Oh yeah, he was like, "Hey, we're on the way." And he asked like, "Hey, so which route are you guys taking?" And I was like, "I don't know, I'm not driving." So he's like, "Well, if you're taking this route, then you should stop at Buc-ee's and get the brisket sandwich." And they had a lot of options, but yeah, this was Dan Powell's recommendation. Buc-ee's is very good. We actually got some more breakfast too as well.
Yeah, so full disclosure, we did stop at Buc-ee's, obviously on the way there. This is of course more dinner time, lunchtime, dinner time. But obviously on the way back it's breakfast time. So yeah, Miguel, what did you get? Well, let's start with the first trip to Buc-ee's. What did you get when we were on
It was the chopped up brisket sandwich, because I can't eat that shit fucking as a whole piece. Very man, I think the only disappointment, it was like that and the Buc-ee's chips, which I thought was like the skinless potatoes wedges, but it wasn't. It was chips. So yeah, that's
and how would you?
the brisket sandwich is pretty good. I would say that the Buc-ee's chips, if you like potato chips, are not bad. They're nice and salty, which that kind of sounds like going to a gay joke for some whatever reason.
Okay, actually, no. Miguel thinks the chips were terrible. He would never buy them again.
And this is true, but
I don't know why he's glazing Buc-ee's all of a sudden. But I got just that extra. It was like an XL brisket sandwich, really good.
You got that fat boy sandwich.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really eat nothing all day. It's a gas station, folks. It's a gas station. Of course, they have things that many other gas stations do not have, but it is a gas station at the end of the day. So you have to take any review of Buc-ee's with a grain of salt. If you're hearing people say Buc-ee's is the greatest thing on earth, it's one of the best gas stations I've ever been to. Probably the best gas station I've ever been to. The staff there are incredibly nice. The bathrooms are wonderfully clean. Parking lot's easy to get in and out of. Plenty, of course, a million different pumps for gas. So you never have to wait. So yeah, probably the best gas station I've been to. But it's a gas station. It's gas station food. So you can't expect any 5-star or whatever meals out of it. The trip on the way back right now, we stopped for breakfast. Miguel, what did you grab this time?
It was the brisket taco, egg taco. Very, very good. They actually had tater tots, so we grabbed those, and it was pretty good.
Well, what do they call their tater tots?
Beaver tots.
Beaver tots.
And then we got the banana pudding, and then we got I got beef jerky, which is I think it was a sherry smoked, and then fucking cashews, pecans, and then I think walnuts was the other one. Almonds. I can't think of. See, I'm not that fucking good, man. I can't remember shit.
Can't remember it.
We just bought it like a half hour. Well, look, man, it was
a variety. Half hour ago.
It was like a variety, bro. It was a variety. All right. I just grabbed
it's actually not a variety. They all come individually, and you grabbed each one of them individually.
Well, yeah, because there was a variety. You got 3 different types. I'm like, I'm just gonna grab one of each.
Okay.
I was like, but yeah, that's what I got. What'd you get, man?
Well, no, that's not all you got.
What else did I fucking get,
bro?
I might tweak it.
Bro, I'm not even gonna tell Miguel what else he got, but I'm gonna wait for him to remember. Let's see. We're live, folks. We'll see how long it takes.
Oh, fuck! I got a brownie too, bro.
Well, well, apparently he's got more things. He's got another. I know he's got another thing.
Bro, I don't know what else to fucking tell you. I got the brownie, and that was it.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, beef.
When you want, let me know when you want a hint.
Bro, I think I need the hint. I don't know what the fuck. You act like. Yeah, this say banana pudding.
You did say banana pudding?
Yeah.
I didn't hear. Okay, maybe I didn't hear it then.
See, look at that. You make me look. I'm like, dude, I said banana pudding, hickory, well, not hickory, the cherry smoked beef jerky.
Okay, that's my fault. But anyway,
Trying to make me look like the bad guy.
Yeah, but you did forget the brownie then.
Yeah, so I did forget one thing. All right.
Even though we left there not 10 minutes ago.
Just buying random shit.
All right, well, I got the sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit, which if you've ever had McDonald's before, it's similar to that. The biscuit's a little bit better than McDonald's quality. But other than that, it's no complaints there. And then I also did get a banana pudding, which I have tried. Miguel didn't get into his yet. And I think the banana pudding is rather tasty. I also don't know. Banana pudding is one of those things where it's hard to mess up.
I mean, that's questionable, man. I mean, it's like a hit or miss.
I have never had a banana pudding where I'm like, you know what, that is absolutely awful. The only way I can see messing up a banana pudding is like dumping a cup of like lukewarm water and then shaking it up. And then having it being so.
That sounds like a liquidy. That sounds like a messy accident waiting to happen in the bathroom.
There's no way you can mess up. But it's pretty good. So as mentioned, we're back on the road. We're going to talk now about day 2 of Heroes for Huntington's. The main event on day 2 was the Silver Duos. So the format for this was obviously it's duos, 2 players, 2v2 format. One of your teammates will have to play. It's basically a split Silver Age team. So it's Silver Age format, hence Silver Duos. One of the players has to play all of the Silver game elements. So it's 200 points of that. And one of the teammates has to play all of the Modern game elements. 200 points of that. When Miguel and I, obviously, we're together as a team on that. Leading up to the event, I did not care at all about strategizing and thinking that hard about this event. I told Miguel right off the bat, I said, I'm going to play 200-point Kong, and that's it. I don't care. I thought about it for maybe 3 or 4 minutes, and I just said that I'm playing Kong. And the only advice that I gave him, I said, I would appreciate if you played 200 point, or not 200 point, if you played Colossal Sinestro, so that way any opposing character that attacked Kong would suffer a -2 defense penalty. And I said, beyond that,
or -2 attack.
Yeah, -2 attack. Yeah. I said, but beyond that, I don't care what you use. And I think Miguel probably sent me 6 different teams of him changing. I think I'm going to play this. I think I'm going to play this. I think I'm going to play this. And every time asking me, what do I think? And every time me answering, I don't care. That looks fun. Let's do it. Whatever you want to use. I don't care. So, Miguel, why don't you regale the fine folks with what did you end up actually settling on? What did you end up playing for your 200 points of Modern Age?
Oh, well, fuck. I deleted from AC units, but I think it was the Venom Horse, Agent Anti-Venom, Tri-Sentinel, Sinestro, and Phoenix Pog. I feel like that, and maybe a Lucas Pog. It was a Lucas Pog. And then it was the one-shots was, I believe it was Fortify. But I think that might have been the only one-shot, I think. I can't fucking remember. No. It was, you had Venomized Phoenix Force on the sideline, and there was 3 one-shots.
Yes, there were.
Fuck, I can't remember the 3 one-shots, dude. I believe
they were for Kong. I'll give you a hint. They were for
Kong. It was Fortify was 1, Diabolical Bargain. Yeah, I forgot the fucking last one. I can't fucking remember.
Starts with an S.
Spectral Armor, I think. Spectral Armor, might be that one.
And of course, you threw Venomax onto Agent Anti-Venom for free, because why not? Funny enough, I don't know if we could just we're not really skipping to that game.
You want to skip?
But all day, how many attacks did Agent Anti-Venom make all day?
I think it was just one game. But I think it was one attack.
One game.
One game. He made maybe two attacks.
Two attacks. Agent Anti-Venom all day made two attacks. Well, no, that's actually not true. We made
it was three.
Two attacks leading up to our loss.
Yeah.
Our loss, that game he made probably several attacks, maybe like 3 or 4. But none of them really doing anything. So yeah, 3 or 4. Let's see what else. But yeah, we did, I think, exceptionally well for considering the amount of time that we spent building and practicing this team and this format, which was 0. We didn't practice at all, and we went undefeated in Swiss, and one game on that, and we finished in 3rd place. So we, just goes to show you don't really have to practice your team 100,000 times in order to do well with it. You can maybe just play good stuff and have good support pieces and just have good positioning more often than not and do it very well.
How many times they kept asking to look at Venom Horse's fucking card? It's like,
Venom Horse was this is ironic to say, but he was the dark horse, literally and figuratively, of the event. Nobody knew what this guy did. And
I think the funny part was they kept outwitting Pulse Wave throughout the whole fucking that to me was always the funniest thing about it.
So what Miguel's talking about is, so our pilot that we would choose for Venom Horse would be Venomized Phoenix Force. So the click number that we would use for Venom Horse would be one where she has Pulse Wave and Outwit. So Outwit comes in handy, of course, because it's Outwit, but not only just because it's Outwit, because when Phoenix on top dial, Phoenix Horse or Venom Horse says that all characters within 4 squares can't use probability control or perplex. So no use, no sense giving them any of those powers. So Outwit just makes sense, but it also gives them Pulse Wave. And what I think a lot of players did is see that he was being granted Pulse Wave. Also, they saw that he had that special attack power, the same one that gets rid of Prob and Perplex, also grants him knockback on all attacks. Then said, "Oh, I don't want to be hit with Pulse Wave plus knockback," so they would outwit Venom Horse's Pulse Wave, not seeing that he has Battle Theory and is unable to activate Pulse Wave.
Yeah.
But we would, on occasion, sometimes remind our opponent. They'd be like, "Well, I'm going to outwit something on Venom Horse. What does he have?" And we would just say all the powers he has. And once we were like, "Yeah, he's got his movement power, which is like the basically full move Quake. And also gives us some improved movements. His attack power for the no prop thing. So it's got Pulse Wave from the pilot. And as soon as we said that, I'm going to outwit Pulse Wave."
Yep.
And it was like, okay.
All right.
And only one, well, I don't want to say only one, but there was one obvious opponent team that saw that and they were like, and when they were like, I think, I don't know, Miguel, you tell him what happened.
Well, like he's like, well, I'm gonna.
We'll say who we were going against.
Oh, we're playing against the majors, Jay and Jalen, and I think it was Jay's turn. He was gonna outwit Pulse Wave, and he's like, well, hold up. And Jay's like, Jalen's the one that tried to. He's like, you can't have Pulse Wave. He was like, he caught on to the.
Yeah.
He caught on.
He almost outwit Pulse Wave.
Yeah, he almost outwitted Pulse Wave.
He was like, wait. Yeah, Hello.
Yeah. to Jay. He's like, every time, man.
Yeah.
Can't get a rollout.
Jay did succeed a single rollout in that entire game, which was that was the last. Was that the last game of Swiss, or was that the first game of Top Cut? I can't.
That was the first game of Top Cut.
The first game of Top Cut. So yeah, it was
that one. I will remember because that was
very unfortunate for him. What else was going? What else was happening?
I think
the format of duos, each player only controls of a team, lends itself, I think, to point denial strategies. So when you have things, like 200-point Kong, where just kind of, on his own, even in a 400-point game, it's difficult to take down. It takes time. It's not something that you can easily do in a single turn. Some teams can do it, but it's not always easy. In duos, when on a given turn, you're only getting basically up to 200 points of opposing figures kind of coming at you in a single turn. I think it lends itself very well to effects like point denial, which I think also helped a lot, with Agent Anti-Venom. So if both of our opposing team were, for Kong, and not only will they suffer the -2 attack penalty, but they would have to deal with the revive effect from Agent Anti-Venom on top of his healing. There's just one click, but it still could help healing one click a turn. I also say that it lends itself to point denial because, and I think this is probably true for most of the teams that made Top Cut and they didn't lose the game because they got wiped. I think if you didn't lose the game because you got wiped all day, you're the only characters that ever got KO'd were probably your support characters, because that is exactly what happened with our team. All day, how many games? 6.
So say 6 games.
6 games. Even the game we lost, all 6 games. Kong was never KO'd. Venom Horse was never KO'd. Agent Anti-Venom was never KO'd. The only characters on our team that were ever KO'd were characters that were one click long, or one display. Tri-Sentinel, Lucas, Phoenix, or Phoenix, whatever you want to call it, and then
Sinestro on the rare occasion.
Yeah, that's it. That's the only things on our team that were ever KO'd all day. So it's something to consider with that format, is that while I'm not saying it's impossible to KO characters that are more than one click long, because that obviously happened a lot. We did it a whole bunch all day, but it's just something to think about. I think if you are going to spend more than 4 minutes thinking about team building and not just go the same route that we did and say, Kong, go for it, just do it, then I just think you have to consider that, again, the amount of attacks that are coming your way in a single turn are about half, if not less than half, than you're typically used to seeing in a standard 400-point game.
Well, I think, to be fair, it's the one thing that to make this format better, it's to get rid of long maps.
Yeah, so
so
let's get into some issues with the 2v2 format as a whole. So 2v2 as a format in terms of pace, how quickly the game is played, is significantly slower than a standard 1v1 game. Why? Well, because every action that's being taken, you are consulting your teammate on whether or not you think that it's a good idea or the best idea or your best course of action. So, of course, every action that's being taken, there's a delay in it being taken, generally speaking, because both of you and your teammates should be agreeing on what's happening. Of course, if your teammate does disagree on what's happening, you always have the right to override them, but that's not going to be producing good feelings during the game. You don't want your teammates to start throwing the game because they're mad at you for deciding to do something that they felt was not optimal. So it's a slower pace of play. With that inherent slower pace of play, what does that mean? That means on average, you as a single player are going to get less turns per game. How many less? I would estimate just from that 6 games that we played, plus I've participated in some other duo events as well, that you on average, because of that, get 1 to 2 less turns on average. If you're going to get 1 to 2 less turns on average, again, what does that lean into? I think that leans into, again, as I said before, point denial. So if you have less turns, if your opponent has less turns to KO you, obviously playing a piece that has a giant dial with, reduced penetrating on everything, and it's like I think that's inherently more difficult to KO. Same thing, like I said, even with Venom Horse, people would hit Venom Horse, and then they would go, oh, wait a second, if I KO Venom Horse, then Venomized Phoenix Force comes out, and they don't have the actions to address it on that same turn. So we saw, at least with 2 games, players attack Venom Horse and then just stop. They go, you know what, we can't KO this character, because if we do, even though we score 60 points, we will lose the game because we're going to get pulse waved and then mind controlled and outwit on the following turn, and we don't want to deal with that.
Yep.
And as Miguel was saying with the long maps.
Well, I was gonna say too, with the long maps on top of the discussion, eats up too much fucking time. But that's one of the biggest things that I think they need to fix that, because you're gonna discuss anyway, but it just kills so much. It kills so much time.
Yeah, when your first 1 to 2 turns on a long map, especially if you don't have Alpha Strike on a long map, which almost every team doesn't, because you're using only 200 points, of a team. Again, so you have up to 3 actions instead of up to typically 5 actions to Alpha Strike across the board. Now you only have 3 actions to Alpha Strike. It's typically not a good idea to even try to do that and leave, nearly an entire team, out to dry on the other side of the map trying to Alpha Strike by themselves. That's generally not a good idea. So you spend a turn or 2 positioning on a long map in a similar way to the starting position of a small map of 16 by 16. So if you just say, hey, there's no long maps and there's only small maps, that effectively cuts a turn or 2 out of the game. And those, again, as I mentioned, those turns are longer and slower than typical turns. Rounds, I guess I should say rounds. So 2 rounds or 1 or 2 rounds of the game are removed when playing on smaller maps. And if you're going to get less turns on average anyway, playing on a long map means that now instead of getting 1 or 2 less turns on average, now you're getting 2 or 3 less turns. And if you get 3 less turns than you would on a typical game, you really don't have that much opportunity to score points. You effectively have 1 turn, maybe 1 turn, where you can score any amount of points, and then also not immediately throw the game by scoring points and then leaving whatever points you score. Say, I scored 30 points, but you scored it with a character that was 50 points, and that character was immediately KO'd on the following turn because you left them out to dry. Then you lose the game. So it's one of those things where you're like, okay, I have to score points with a very high point character who can't be KO'd in a single turn, and the amount of points that you're scoring is sometimes very, very low.
I was just laughing at, I was just thinking about our first round opponents and how you're gonna attack Kong, and your defense is up by 1, so you're 21 defense, right? And then I think it was the Colossus attacking the Prime Colossus attacking Kong. And it's like, bro, well, you just got to roll an 11 or better. It gave him that look bro.
It was He was playing.
That was Colossus Prime and Starro, I thought.
Starro, yeah. Starro was attacking Kong.
Oh, I thought
Starro had an 11 attack. I think Starro has an 11 attack, and we perplexed Kong's defense to a 21. So typically it's a 10 or better, but his attack was -2. So he was like, so I have to roll a critical hit. Is that what you're telling me? And the guy's like, yeah, that's your only play. That's your best play. He's like, you want me to roll a crit right now?
Yes. He said, yeah, bro, it's that easy. Just roll crit. Oh, fuck. That was a fun match. Yeah, we fucking steamrolled through that, dude. Like the Swiss, we steamrolled that shit.
Yeah, I think that obviously
But I learned that, the one thing I learned going for, to the future, I think it's if you're going to play that, then it's like knowing that if your opponent has another Colossal, don't get tied up with it or play something that gives improved movement through characters.
Yes.
That's one of the biggest things I've realized. To improve that team, I think that's how you
going forward. Yeah, I almost think I would say like play Arrow.
Yeah.
Just because she's mystical. Or no, she's what is she? She's I think she's mystical. I think Arrow is mystical because she works with Juggernaut. And I've used Arrow with Juggernaut. So if you were able to use Arrow to say, yeah, I'm gonna make this guy move for free 1 square and auto breakaway, that would
change the game in our top formats.
Yeah, but again, I don't. It would have to be like Venom Horse's replacement,
which is fine, I think.
Yeah,
I think you still need Agent Anti Venom.
Yeah, just
for the rollout, and then
he would also save Arrow.
Yeah,
Arrow's very squishy.
Yeah.
So as Miguel mentioned, our boss came to a team that we played before in Swiss, which was Azra's Lucas's team. They were playing Eternity with She-Hulk, and in our first game was a very low scoring game.
I think we won by 5 points.
They made a misplay with positioning with one of their characters. It was a Spider-Man on the first turn. We KO'd it.
That was lucky.
We KO'd it in an inefficient way. We should have been able to KO it. We did. I thought for a second that we were not able to KO it without rolling dice because we had Tri-Sentinel. Oh, and somebody's calling me. I can't answer the phone. I'm sorry. I will have to call later because we may have to end this episode short so I can make a phone call. But the what was we saying?
It was
Miguel.
Fuck, I forgot.
What was I just saying?
Oh shit! Now you got the music on and all that stuff.
What was I saying?
You're talking about the fucking against Azurf about the Spider-Man.
Yeah. Right. So we thought I was at the beginning. I was like, oh, I can't try Sentinel ping him and then knock him back with a Sinestro construct to KO him because he was playing the 25-point Spider-Man. I was like, I'm not able to do that. But we were. I was just stupid. So we generated the
sound wave.
No, we didn't generate the sound wave.
It was a chainsaw.
We generated the chainsaw and we flurried him. And
so this is the Hail Mary, bro.
And we were able to hit the attack and they missed the rollouts and all that stuff. So
what did I need? A 9, right? Because it was a 10
it was a 10 on an 18, 8 or better.
I thought you could play C, but I don't know. Okay, yeah, you're right. It was a high roll.
It was an 8. Yeah. Whatever. Doesn't matter. It was unlikely. It was an 8 or better. Yeah, it was unlikely that we were going to hit and deal him, but we did, and it worked out. Even though that was a misplay on my part. But so we won that game, and they 100% learned from their mistakes on their positioning, and they 100% corrected what they wanted to do. And in our second game, as Miguel mentioned, they used Eternity's ability to place any character on the map 1 square away, which if you are a 2x2 base, it effectively means you can place them 2 squares away, technically, because you place one part of their base 1 square away, and then you swing the base around the other side. And but it's similar things for us happened with effects like Hyper Time, where we would charge up with Kong into the square 2 squares away, because we're counting movement from a different square, and then all the other ones get placed, and very weird stuff happens with 2x2 and multi-base figures. Regardless, the Eternity forced Kong to be adjacent to Eternity, and then I would have to roll breakaway because we're both Colossals. And so it either said I have to punch eternity by myself, or I have to try to roll breakaway and succeed twice. So of course they're going to prop that breakaway roll in order to be able to attack any other characters on the map. So they did that perfectly. They made it a very unfun game for me to play because I basically didn't get to play that last game after making I think 2 attacks. It was just kind of useless for me to do anything. And then, as I mentioned, they scored all of our support characters and they won that final game. But as Miguel mentioned, it would definitely benefit us to take that into account if we were going to play the exact same format in the future and try to run a similar team with Kong. We would 100% play Arrow to be able to auto break away with Kong and Quake and score a bunch more points that way. And
because I think at that point they really couldn't have done anything. You could tie them up, but it doesn't do anything at that point. They would have to be forced, and especially on a long map, they would be forced to go. Actually, and it's funny that I think about it more now. I think they would have chose a small map, or knowing that we only have small maps, they would have said, "Out, we'll go first," and then would have went straight for Arrow. So I think going forward, if you're doing the silver, I think you need a long map on your team. So in case they decide,
and then Arrow for 5 damage.
Yeah, and so we would just choose the long map and go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how you fix that issue.
But that goes against. But then again, it goes against what you're saying. You say no long maps, but then you're saying that's the only way that we would.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm saying. It's the contradiction. It's like you need the long map for this, but then you don't. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So again, it's one of those things that long maps might be a strategy, but I don't think overall they are healthy for that format because they just take away. You're playing less hero clicks. I feel on average playing less hero clicks. So, but some people may enjoy that format more because they feel it's more that each turn is more impactful. If you only have 3 or maybe 4 turns in a game, each of those turns is very, very important, and the decisions you make are very impactful. Versus if a game is going to last 20 turns, then each of those turns may not have as much impact on the game as a whole. But I don't know. I disagree. I like games that where, regardless of the length of the game time-wise, I like games that have many turns where both players are able to do something that relates to the strategy and significance of the pieces that they put on their team and the combos that they want to pull off. I think if both players are able to pull off whatever combo that they decided to bring to the table, and then at the end of the day, someone else, one of those players wins that game, it's like, hey, we both at least were able to do what we wanted, what we set out to do. But hey, your strategy at the end of the day ended up taking the win. So, but like I said, that was the only loss on the day. So, absolutely phenomenal performance by us. We're going to pat ourselves on the back for that. As I mentioned before, so I'm getting phone calls from my wife as we drive home. So I'm going to have to, I think,
we end this
now. We'll end this in a little bit, but I'll toss it to Miguel. Any other final thoughts about Silver Duos as a format, and any other games, any other moments that you remember in the games that we played that I didn't mention yet?
No, I think it was just that. It was like besides like the remember the past team with that we could have lost that the Flash Raptor was the first Flash. That was a close game.
It was close. They were absurdly lucky
because
they just were attacking Kong while suffering the attack penalty from Sinestro. They just weren't caring. They were throwing 10s and 11s, and 10s and 11s.
Swinging up in the air.
Yeah.
I think like the other impactful moment besides that one was against where Venom Horse goes in for the Quake and KOs the Blackheart, the guard, and the Black Vulcan. And he's like, and Jalen's like,
it was Blackheart and 2 guards.
Well, no, it was Black Vulcan because it was like when Jalen's like,
there was no Black Vulcan.
Yeah, because Jalen was like, hey,
what is Black Vulcan?
That was the poison, the trouble alert. Because he was like, hey, well, at least you got super senses.
The trouble alert.
And he's like, well, no, you don't have it because the agent anti-venom was seeing you.
I see what you're saying. I thought, you're absolutely right. It was Black Vulcan.
It was only, I think, a guard, Yeah, it was the guard.
Because he KO'd one of the guards.
Yeah.
To do the thing, and so Jalen's like, he keeps KOing guards, giving up points.
Yeah.
Sure, go ahead, do whatever you want.
That's why Jalen's like, I don't even give a fuck. He's like, I don't care. He's like, you know what? Do whatever you want to do. But yeah, that was like probably like the funniest shit that the most impactful quake that Venom Horse would ever do. KOing 3 things.
Yes, yeah. Beat that. Beat Venom Horse, KOing Blackheart, Black Vulcan, and
the Hellfire
Club Guard with a single attack while taking away super senses from Black Vulcan with Agent Anti-Venom and probability control from Blackheart. And then the knockback damage KOs him. Oh, it was perfect.
Yeah, and that's where he's like, I don't even know why we're playing the game. Oh fuck! But yeah, I think I won it right there. Then I think that was good. All right then.